it's very difficult for me to follow up on it, because when one talks about anything to do with music and then one is not able to perform music, that is a problem. I am also reminded of the fact that the classical sociologist Max Weber, which some of you may have heard of, is one of the founders of sociology. Whenever he explained his theory, particularly during the soirees at his home in Berlin, and people didn't understand him very well, apparently the story is that he explained it by playing piano. So sadly, my very limited skills playing guitar and only 2 Lady Gaga songs, very poorly at that, are such that I'm going to spare you this. What I want to talk about, because some of the previous speakers have already talked a little bit about fame and the difference between fame and celebrity. So I'll talk about fame in the case of Lady Gaga. And as you may have heard, since last year, I teach a course at the University of South Carolina called Lady Gaga and the Sociology of Fame. And indeed, one of the issues that we talk about is about the difference between fame and celebrity. And of course, what is very interesting in terms of this particular panel, I have to confess that my knowledge of classical music is virtually zero. But I looked up these characters called Paganini and Liszt, whom I had heard of because they are famous, n'est-ce pas? And I looked them up and I thought, well, yeah, of course. This panel makes all the sense in the world, because both Liszt and Paganini were not only famous in the arts, but were also very actively involved in being famous, in dealing with their fame, in thinking about their fame, and in doing things about their fame as well. So this is a very great opportunity for me to be with you today. What I want to first talk about just a little bit, is about indeed the course that I teach about Lady Gaga and the sociology of the fame. And in that course, we talk about one specific issue, and that is the fame of Lady Gaga. And within that topic, we specifically talk about the social conditions of her fame. The central problem to me, and I am, though not an expert on classical music, I have been very actively a fan of pop and rock music since the late 1960s, so I hope that counts for something too. And from that perspective, what is so particular about Lady Gaga is not that she's a pop star who's globally famous. It is very difficult to be a famous pop star and to have that fame be limited to one country. Most pop stars who become famous become globally famous. However, what is particular about Lady Gaga and her success since 2009 is that she became famous precisely at this point in time when, as you probably know, the record industry is facing tremendous crisis, primarily because of technological advances. So one of the issues that I was often confronted with when I did media interviews, and I did a lot of media interviews about my course, was why don't, if you're interested in fame in the world of pop music, why don't you do a course about Madonna? And my standard response was, if I was interested in society 30 years ago, I would do a course about the fame of Madonna. The entire problem is indeed, why is Lady Gaga famous now? How is it possible with all this competition, with everybody having internet access, which also is the reason you should forgive me for that little technical snafu. I wasn't on the phone with anybody, but I am actually live tweeting about this presentation with other Lady Gaga fans because they want to stay abreast of what's going on. And indeed, as you will see from the topics that I address in the course, that's the 4th topic. That's actually where we are right now in the course, because my students actually are doing a test today. And so what we talk about are to some extent, are the standard issues. If you talk about fame, celebrity, and success, you have to talk about business and marketing. And obviously, there's a lot to be said about that in the case of Lady Gaga. Not so much her own business savvy, which I would severely question, actually, but definitely of the people around her. There are legal issues involved, which actually came up during our little introduction in advance, because Peter knew about it. There are legal issues involved in seeking to protect what we as sociologists call one's normative privilege as one aspect of fame. You know, like I can have a T-shirt and I write Lady Gaga about it. Can I sell the T-shirt? Legally, I cannot because of trademark issues. And actually, right now, Lady Gaga is involved, or the Lady Gaga brand, if you will, is involved in about 8 lawsuits involving breach of contract, copyright, all fairly routine in the world of pop and rock music. The media issue is, of course, very important. And not only in terms of the use of the new technologies, the internet. You know, Lady Gaga is on Twitter, I am on Twitter, a lot of Lady Gaga fans, at least 14 million of us. I say as privately as Mathieu Deflem, so let me return to being Professor Deflem. At least 14 million of them are on Twitter with her. The issue, however, that we talk about primarily is actually that Lady Gaga is also very famous because of her use of the traditional media. Until today, being famous on the internet alone will not make you famous in the world of music. You also need radio, TV, print, and so on. We talk about fan connections. There's a lot to do about that, I think, which you are very well aware of. Live shows, which has traditionally in music, of course, been the central connection of the artist with the audience, is live performances. In this day and age, when digital downloads are so freely available, and actually when music content is often given away, you know, you can listen to any Lady Gaga song officially on YouTube. You don't have to pay for it if you don't want to. So in this day and age, live shows have kind of taken over the central role of selling recordings. We talk about gay culture as one specific group in our fame, about religious and political themes, which is not altogether common, or not always common in the world of pop music, but as you probably know, Lady Gaga is very outspoken, particularly in her support for gay rights, some other issues. You know, she did a charity campaign after the tsunami earthquake in Japan. So there are some, she also sometimes explicitly embeds certain religious themes in her popular music videos, songs called Judas, a lot of references to Christ and Holy Mary and so on. So sometimes Lady Gaga is anything but a safe pop artist, not only in her wacky fashion, but also in a substantive sense. As a woman, she takes on a particular role, and probably what is very important is her, more from an artistic point of view, is her background in New York. She comes from a rather privileged environment. She's actually a classically trained pianist. So I think Lady Gaga knows her Liszt quite well. She then later took on a more broader role as a performer, a dancer, and then, you know, after a short stint in college, decided to break out on her own and to actually morph from originally a rock performer. Lady Gaga, as a young person, originally did more indie rock-oriented work under influence primarily of her father, I assume, was a rock fan like I am primarily too, and who then turned that into pop. And probably these eclectic influences are very much manifested in her work. Now, what I want to talk about today, so that's kind of the background. Those are the issues that I explore further in my course and in some of my contemporary writings. What I want to talk about today is one specific issue. Here you see some of the little monsters. And what I want to talk about today is, so as a sociologist, I'm primarily interested in social issues, therefore in these social conditions of fame in the world of pop music by means of example of Lady Gaga. However, what one of the issues is that is rather specific to Lady Gaga and fame is that she has explicitly entertained the notion of fame and has explicitly dealt with fame both in her work and also when she talks about her career. So obviously she went from a well, completely unknown person in 2007, 2008 to a global megastar, let's say by the summer of 2009. I have been tweeting about this talk to the Lady Gaga fans. I also run a Lady Gaga fan site, actually. So I've been looking on Twitter. There's a lot of references to Liszt 200 on Twitter. I'm afraid that I haven't been able to put Lady Gaga in those references to Liszt 200, but I've tried. And at this moment, it may very well be that there are I think there are fewer Liszt fans who know about Gaga, and particularly this panel, but there are quite a number of Gaga fans who know about Liszt and Paganini. So we're making some progress there. And one of the things that I did is I said, because I know a lot of fans, I go to a lot of shows, I meet a lot of fans, I said, why don't you tweet me some of your perspective of why do you think Lady Gaga's fame is important? What do you have to say about it? And I thought it'd be interesting to just collect some of these findings, and this is basically what we came up with. So these are some of the little monsters today who tweeted me. It's composite. This is based on about 15, 20 people, excuse me. about 15, 20 people. So just let's read it out quickly. She's an unstoppable force who created the idea of superfans. You know, there's no such thing as a Lady Gaga fan. Either you like Lady Gaga or you don't. And if you do like Lady Gaga, you're immediately a superfan. You're a little monster. So there's this strong sense of devotion who can come together in a safe space. This actually is what a fan said. Lady Gaga herself says this during the show. She says, I've created the Monster Ball, which is the name of the show. I've created the Monster Ball so that my fans have a place to go, a place to be safe, to be oneself. And then as somebody that I know actually to be currently an undergraduate student told me, he says, to find both what they want, but also what they need. So you see it's like, for the Lady Gaga fans, it's much more than just dancing to cool music. There is a very existential relationship to Lady Gaga as a person, but also to the work, to the music, and to the other fans, in fact. Somebody else wrote, when the monstrous entity of fame tried to eat her, this eating, the monster eating are words that Lady Gaga uses in her music. And so obviously what the person is referring to is the fact that Lady Gaga became famous, right? People wanted to treat her as a celebrity. People write about her as a celebrity. What did she then do? She began to open up as a pearl. Actually talks, a pearl is caught in a shell, right? It's born in the shell, enclosed, and then it opens up and gradually light comes out. It was actually an association that this fan made with the way in which she was dressed. He said in the beginning of her career, she was more covered. She had more, bodysuit on. And then gradually she was more uncovered. And he said, and opened up as a pearl and sought to reach people to whom she became an inspiration. That's kind of obvious. Lady Gaga created a culture that does not value fame as such, but values community and identity. And that is obviously, it's this commonality of the fans, this very strong bond that sometimes actually takes on certain negative sides, a certain, that it becomes a little bit of an obsession or some separations taking place. But indeed, this notion that Lady Gaga then articulated at her show and said, the Monster Ball will set you free. So just to end, if you wish to know more about it, I have both on the internet, both websites devoted to the course, gagacourse.net, and the fan site that I maintain is at gagafrontrow.net. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. And we only have a few minutes for questions.
This is a comment more than a question.
Sure.
It was distressing to see the last thing about Lady Gaga is that there is no private Lady Gaga. I don't know if really we know that that's true, but that means that she probably won't live a long life. That is, Michael Jackson, there was no private Michael Jackson.
I should say just one qualification about that. What I meant with that is that what Lady Gaga says, even when I'm private, I'm Lady Gaga. So that's not quite the same. But you are right, though. I didn't get around to commenting on that section in the interest of time. But I would say that too. And actually the comparison that I make with the world of rock music is with Alice Cooper, who some of you may know, who's a shock artist, And he actually maintains a very strong separation. He says there is Alice Cooper, the performer, and he always refers to this person in the third person. He said, Alice is doing this, Alice would do that. And he also says of himself, he says, I'm just a guy, and I play golf, and I do this and that. And then, in preparation of the show, I assume the character. And he says, and when I assume the character, then, then I'm Alice Cooper, so then you better stay clear. See? And indeed, I agree with the gentleman that this separation is important. And I also agree that if there is no separation between at least, let's say, I should maybe have said a private and a public Lady Gaga, always Lady Gaga, but a private and a public Lady Gaga, that could be fatal.
And Peter, you want to hop in here real quick?